So it seems that the pressure is already on the Pelicans to make sure Zion is as happy as possible. Of course, you should always make sure your players are happy, but given the language that has been used with Zion's family not being happy with him in New Orleans, I think you really got to care about that if you're the front office, a Pelicans fan. And I mean, look, with where we've been going the last, decade or so since LeBron's decision, with players requesting trades earlier into their contracts and all that, is it really shocking to see this sort of thing? I mean, we already saw it once with Porzingis, where he got himself out of New York rather than extending. And I think if we fast forward 10 years, this is probably going to happen at least once or twice, where a star player on their rookie contract either signs the qualifying offer, that's what it is, right? So they can go into free agency, or they just request the trade out of there, and the team has to trade them or else they're going to lose them for nothing. And part of this is because a guy like Zion can make so much money off the court that to him it doesn't really matter if he's going to lose a little bit by not re-signing with the Pelicans. Now, all of this said, the Pelicans still have time, but this could accelerate things a bit for them, in the sense of they've got a whole lot of draft picks, and they probably didn't want to offload a bunch of them this offseason, but if somebody becomes available, they're probably going to have to do it now. They might have to get more aggressive with trying to get off of the Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe contracts. They might even need to, and this is the real crazy stuff, but I don't know, Zion could go full-on LeBron mode where he's just like, we can't have guys who don't help us win right now. What if the Pelicans have to consider Kyra Lewis as expendable for the sake of keeping Zion? This also means that they need to hit a home run with the next coach. They also have cap space, especially if they don't want to hold on to Lonzo. This free agent class is not loaded, but they're still good players nonetheless. And yeah, so we'll see there. I mean, this is kind of uncharted territory. I mean, not in the sense of a star having rumors about them, but with just a guy this young. Anyway, if I can now think about the worst case scenario, which is Zion really would want out if we fast forward a year and a half or something, what would a Zion trade even look like? Do you trade a young guy for draft picks and young guys? I mean, to be honest, if Zion was really not on this team 2 years from now, the Pelicans would probably have to move. I mean, they're 29th in revenue in the league, and there was already a thing earlier on Twitter about how they would be one candidate to relocate. So, yeah. But anyway, what would a Zion trade actually look like? It's still insane to even suggest this. I have no idea, bro. I mean, literally every draft pick the Thunder have. Is that a good offer? If you want to talk about the Knicks, I mean, I'm sure Knicks fans would love to hold on to RJ Barrett. Don't know how possible that would be. You're, of course, offloading a whole lot of draft picks. And whatever else might happen there. To think about this just for the league at large, we have had several young stars on not good teams stick it out. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. They're good now, of course. Karl Anthony Towns. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander seems to be pretty okay with OKC this season. If they suck for 3 more years, we'll see how he feels. So I don't think this is a super red flag, but we do also have the Luka rumors, and it's kind of tough because I understand the idea of bro, if teams only have 1 or 2 seasons before this sort of thing comes out after they get a really good player, then that's too much pressure on them. I agree. At the same time, you need to have a well-run organization, and based on what we heard from Dallas, kind of a mess. And Donnie Nelson ended up being the fall guy. Whether that was a smart move or not, we'll end up seeing. That said, I would be lying if I said I was 100% cool with the idea of this type of rumor becoming a thing after a guy's second season. But at the same time, from the player's perspective, it's should you really lock yourself into 9 years of a place you don't want to be at? But even within that, I would hope that the reason for a guy not wanting to be somewhere is because the place is a mess, more so than just you know what, man, not really feeling it over here. And maybe something will come out at some point about the Pelicans behind the scenes just being dysfunctional as hell. I don't know. There's a fine line with all this. I mean, there's two bad scenarios. One is a guy hates a place that's a complete mess and he just can't get out no matter what until his contract is up when he's like 27 or something. The other is a guy decides after 1.5 years, I don't like this place. Assuming that the place is run like pretty okay. And as far as how to get both sides to meet in the middle with rules and contract stuff, I don't really know. I mean, I would imagine the NBA would not want to have like a different rule set for the really good rookie contract guys. So I don't know. I also don't really know how you would put that into a contract anyway. So yeah, if this actually goes the route of Zion ending up in free agency unrestricted, or if he's traded, then it has massive implications on the rest of the league, and there will be a huge conversation about small markets and all that, especially if he ended up on the Knicks or whatever. So we'll just see. To think about just the Pelicans roster a little bit, I didn't want to have this be the main thing because, well, I don't know. Steven Adams, I think he's good. I don't know why they gave him that contract. I mean, you can get quality traditional big guys for way less money. That said, I think they need him on defense because Zion defensively, while I think he had stretches of being good throughout the season, wasn't good overall. Bledsoe's defense has fallen off, and it's tough to find the big next to Zion because honestly, the Bucks struck gold with Brook Lopez being able to space the floor. Not that teams stay glued to him, but he spaces it out kinda way more than Steven Adams, and he's been good on defense. Granted, it's within Bud's stand in front of the rim whole thing, which then gets picked apart in the playoffs. We all know this, but the point is like that is way better than the Steven Adams Zion fit right now. If you want to go through the centers who can shoot and defend, there's not a whole lot. There's Miles Turner, there's Al Horford, but his contract isn't good. But they might have to find one of those guys as far as the Zion-Ingram pairing. So apparently they didn't love that Stan Van didn't have them playing off of each other that much. I know some people want the Ingram-Zion pick and roll. I feel like teams would just switch that, but even so, there's a lot you can do with those two playing off of each other more. Of course, Lonzo and Zion have a good pairing. That said, Lonzo needs to have a limit to how much you really want to pay him. And yeah, it's going to be something. I mean, they might have to use picks to get off of Bledsoe for one. But I feel like they need to make a Chris Paul-esque move. Like Kyle Lowry would be amazing for them. So we'll see, man. The pressure's on him now, clearly.